Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement. It's Robbie Fox, and I am here with the Gunn Club. I've got Austin, I've got Colten, I've got Billy, the undefeated Gunn Club, by the way.
Say that.
Thank you.
That a
Thank
little
you for
loud.
adding
Can you
that.
repeat that one more time?
Yep. Let me step away from the mic, make sure there's no pop. The undefeated Gunn Club. We got to start showing these guys some respect.
A little bit anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've earned it, and I'm pretty sure being as I'm carrying them two, they earned it.
We're here. It's the morning of the Arthur Ashe show. I wanted to just ask, memories of wrestling in New York. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
It's funny because, the jaunt that we walked over here, because it's nowhere to get easy here in New York, as everybody knows if you've ever been to New York. And I've been here plenty of times. We passed the Garden, and I told the boys how many times I've sold out the Garden myself.
Yeah.
I made sure that they knew that their dad sold out the Garden. No, it's amazing because this is kind of, in that other place that we were at was a big deal. The Garden was a big deal, and when we sold it out, I know we sold it out a couple times, but it was insane. I was just telling the people were just bonkers. It's electric. I mean, it really is. It's a lot of fun to wrestle in New York because the people are into it. This is their thing.
Do you feel like I just watched the Adam Cole entrance from the last Dynamite, where in New Jersey, just the crowd went crazy for just his music.
They were going wild.
So I was recording that with Colten just so I could have that moment because when he came out, huge pop, his music's cool, and then he comes down and he does that swing, and then I was like, oh shit! I got my phone out really quick. And just every single person around us was just standing in their seats, just with their hands up in their air. It was nuts.
Yeah,
every little kid to every 55-year-old male, just Adam Cole, baby. It's just it was this is crazy.
Yeah, they were so into it.
The sound in there, just it was nuts.
Now, I tweeted, I said, this sounds like the kind of reaction that guys would get in the late 90s. Now, I was born in 98, so I don't really know that. I just know it from the WWE Network. As someone that was there, do you agree? The reactions people are getting in the AEW now are similar to the late 90s reactions?
I think what's with the people that we're getting, because I was in Chicago when Punk first debuted at the United Center, and everybody was actually, because you don't know it until you've been in it and heard it yourself.
Yeah.
For people, and not bragging, but just heard it, people make that noise for you, and then to hear it for somebody else. When Punk was about to debut, I ran out into the front row, because it's one thing to hear it in the back and watch it on TV. It's another to be in the people. And when you haven't heard, I was trying to explain to people, those are emotional reactions. They're not reactions just because, hey, you're a good guy. Hey, we're in Mama's Basement. Yay! Hey, we haven't seen Mama's Basement for a while. Oh my God! There's a difference between just reacting and emotional reaction. And Punk's and the Adam Cole and the Daniel Bryan, all of those are emotional. People are they feel it.
Yeah.
You feel it deep inside your guts kind of feeling. So, I wanted to feel the people. And when I went out there, I literally got goosebumps, and I almost was like the guy in the front row and started crying.
Yeah.
Because you don't,
Is that Billy Gunn
you said,
crying?
you don't, yeah.
Billy Gunn is crying in the front row.
Maybe
Let's
we
get
can
a
give
close
him a meet and greet with Punk. But it's bone chilling, and you don't hear it anymore. You don't hear emotional reactions like that anymore. Yeah, you just don't. I mean, especially with Punk being gone so long and people really anticipating his return, and then you have Adam Cole come over, and then you have Daniel Bryan come over, and you go, I don't know if I can take anymore.
And then you remember there was also Ruby Soho and Suzuki on that show, and there's so many surprises and moments you can't keep track.
Yeah.
So me and Colten sit in the suite every show. If we're not on the show, we go up to the suite and we just watch the show as fans, because me and Colten are the biggest wrestling fans probably.
We saw over the past couple of years.
Right? Right? Just
row,
we're the biggest fans at heart. So when we're up there, I mean, we used to watch Dad in the Attitude Era. We would go to the shows, but we were little and we couldn't really just watch the full show. But we go up there, and now we're wrestlers watching other wrestlers that just have made it elsewhere and are so successful and so good at what they do. So when they come out, not only are we watching film, but we're watching as fans as well.
Yeah.
And we're just so in tune. I'm up. I literally was one of those people that was like, Adam, go! I was like, Colten, watch this. Hold on, the whole crowd's gonna do this, and I just
You
we're
can't
both
help it.
fans.
You just
Yeah,
get
of course,
so
yeah.
engulfed in
It's
it.
just great. It's a great feeling.
You get that like infectious vibe from the whole AEW roster. I feel like everyone's supporting everyone. I wanted to ask you guys, what is your favorite moment that you guys have gotten to experience in AEW, and then your favorite moment you've gotten to experience like for someone else as a member of the crowd?
Okay. I think.
Yeah.
Personally, it's like a milestone for us. Is like my favorite moment was probably our first pay-per-view, and our first pay-per-view was just me and you only.
Yeah.
And that was a cool thing because like as much as Dad's helping us and is there for us and wrestling with us and coaching us and like doing everything with us, it was like now that was a moment where me and Colten were just like, we have to show up. We have to do this really well, and we have to hold ourselves accountable. And it was super cool because I've been in the business for 3 years now, and watching Colten go from where he started and just this rapidly happening so fast, and him like before we went out there, we were just shaking and we were just like, dude, this is so cool. It was just an excitement because we always talked about this as kids, doing this as kids and being a tag team and winning the belts and stuff like that. But we literally are looking at each other and we're about to go out and our music's about to hit and we get to be our character. Like it's just all coming to life, and it's just such a surreal moment. And I think the first pay-per-view that's just cool in general.
Yeah, mine would probably be our first match together. Like that was just crazy. It finally got done, and we're standing there with our hands raised, and I'm looking. I'm like, I just had a match with my dad and brother, like on like my first match ever on AEW Dark, and I was just like trying to take it in, but trying to figure out what the hell just happened.
Yeah.
Like, it was just that was probably my favorite because it was just crazy. Like, yeah, we just did this.
As a crowd moment, we were there for a lot of debuts. FTR debuted during the pandemic. Sting was
yeah.
on the
Yep.
like
Sting
we had
was
like
there.
5,000 in there or 2,500 or something like that in Daly's place.
Yeah.
Sting was
20%
cool.
capacity.
I'm honestly just a huge fan of Tanahashi, and I'll just say it again.
my
But
God, yeah.
when I first heard that, I literally was in the living room and I was just like, "Wait, what? Who's gonna come?" That's the only person that I really just genuinely just freak out
I'm a
about.
huge fan of his match with Tanahashi.
It's
Eat
great.
shit, bitch.
We talked about that the other day.
Yeah.
Eat shit,
I have a-
bitch.
I have
And
a-
I went, Dad,
I
no.
have a bad habit of doing that. I get lost in the moment.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
we
yeah.
Everybody
get-
in
like I try not to carry a lot of that over to what I do, but it's just so in me that I just get so lost in the moment and I get so excited. I just start
So
doing
amped up.
Like,
Just so
it's
jacked up.
crazy.
He does get amped up. We were in practice one time, and we were just going through the motions and kind of just getting the feel for the ring when Colten was trying to train. Like, why don't you be on, Dad? Why don't you team up with one of these new kids, and me and Colten will work as a tag team. He goes, all right, cool. We'll come back, bang, 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 whatever. Here, here, here. And I was like, cool. So hot tag goes to Dad, and literally as he's coming through the rope, you can just see him just start amping up, and his veins start popping out. It's like when
It's like the Hulk.
well, yeah, like when
David
the
Banner
Hulk
turned into
starts
the
to
Hulk.
transfer into the Hulk.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what happened. And as he was in the ring, literally you were looking in his eyes, but he wasn't looking at you. He was looking right through. He comes with
Oh,
a
shit,
fist
here we go.
right to my forehead. Bang. He bang. To me, and I went, oh my God. Before I could even register that he actually hit me for real, here comes another fist. Bang. Dude, he beat us up so bad that day. But it's just because he gets excited, gets amped up, and I was like, dude, you gotta chill. We are in a warehouse with 2 people. Like, you don't have to punch.
No, this
Practice
is my moment.
No,
baby.
this is it.
Practice like you play. Yeah.
Hot tag, baby. Yeah, here it comes.
They're going wild for me.
Here comes the pain. Eat shit, bitch. Dad, I'm your son. Eat shit. Like,
Don't care.
It's ridiculous. But
It's a good excuse for like the times you didn't clean your room. Like,
Yes.
boom, I'm laying one in.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
sorry, I get amped up, kid. Just ridiculous.
I talked to Anthony Bowens last week, and we were talking about singles wrestling versus tag team wrestling. And I wanted to know for all 3 of you, like, what is the differences that you find in tag team wrestling and singles, and which one do you prefer?
So I'm a tag guy. I just am. I mean, I like them because I'm a very controlling person. So I like to control everything, and I like to know what everything's going on. Plus, I feel there's more action and more components that you can play with. Like
Like
singles,
getting that hot tag.
yeah, yeah, like that.
I can beat up 2 people
But
instead of 1.
everything in tag seems to build towards something. Like you can do that in singles, but I've just never was into the singles thing because it's all about it is all about you, but it's how you structure singly to where I feel it's just more excitement and more stuff you can do in tags. I had a little bit of a singles run, but I never really was into it. Because I just like tags. I like the format. I like the stuff that you can do. And you can be so creative in tags if you just let yourself. Yeah. And it doesn't mean, fly around and flip and do all that. It's just the psychology of how you put it together.
Yeah.
It's like
FTR is a good team that
yeah,
does that,
I mean,
right?
it's all in the person. It's everybody working together. It's the guy on the outside caring about the one that's getting beat up and letting everybody know that you do care. And where the tag comes in, if I don't care about the person that I'm working with that's getting beat up, then the tag won't mean anything. But if you're getting enough heat on somebody that I care about, the minute you touch me is where what they were talking about comes into play. I literally lose my shit. And you have to, because that's what makes the people buy into what you're doing. And that's who I work for. I work for the people. I don't work for me. Like my wrestling, I know is wrestling, but if I can get the people on board, it doesn't matter what I do because they'll buy into what I'm doing. And that's the whole thing. We wrestle for people, and I feel like that gets lost a little bit, is that I'm just wrestling. How good are me and you? Well, who cares? Like you're not paying me. Like I pay for these people because I want to be a huge star. And the people will make me a huge star, not him or the person that I'm working. But if we make magic together and the people buy into it, then when they leave, whether they came to see whoever they came to see, I want them to remember me at the end of that. And that's involving the people.
Yeah. What about you guys? Do you
Yeah,
guys
I would
like
say
working tag or
tags is better just because it's so fun. Like you have 4 people right there and you're trying to put this thing together and ideas are just flying everywhere. You're like,
True,
yes,
yeah.
we can use that, and then he can do this, and you're like, I'm making spots for Austin to do, like, and this would be so sick if he can't. And it's just like super exciting, and there's just more components. Like with the singles, I haven't even had a singles match like on TV, but so I can't really speak on it. But like the
Do you know how many matches you've had at this point?
27.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
And
How many have you lost? How many have you lost?
Yeah.
And I've won 27. But yeah, I just think it's so fun to have everyone there and just bouncing ideas off of each other and then going out and executing, and you're on the ring apron like, this is so sick.
Yeah, it also lets you be your character. I enjoy, honestly, being on the apron more when you're in the ring because it allows me to be just a dickhead.
Yeah.
And I get to look around and look at the people and look at the little kid that I'm making cry and stuff. And it's just like you pick on one person and then they all just like gather up on that person and they try to get you, and like it's really great because it's so underrated how significant being on the apron and doing the small stuff, like not just wrestling. It's just like the character that you add in here and there during a tag. It's just really great. Also, it lets me breathe a little bit because I am winded after I'm yelling at people during I'm blown up at the entrance.
Yeah.
And then I get in the ring and I'm
100%.
like, all right, you tag in here. Here, you do
I'm
this.
gassed.
Do something. Do something, please. I think my experience with singles is just like, I didn't really have a character yet, so it was just really hard to get people and like you have to learn body language and when to fire up, and like you have to learn all these little opponents and you're doing it by yourself. So if you can't do it, there's nobody to rely on. There's no Colten, there's no dad on the apron to rely on to help you with that. So it's like if you don't have the people from the get-go and you lose them and you're just like, come on, and then they're just like,
No.
then you're like, you really have no fallback. That's the hard thing about singles, is just you have to be so in depth with your character and they have to know your, I don't know, it's just, that's just my experience. It's just like I had such a hard time as a second generation wrestler. It's just like, please cheer for me because of who my dad is. And they're like, no, that's why we don't want to. And it was just so hard being a babyface during that time. It was just hard.
the new change of character, change of direction for the Gunn Club has been very interesting.
Oh,
I kind of love it. Whose idea was this?
I think it was a collective kind of idea more, and I think Tony kind of wanted us to kind of just put, but the problem with doing that is how do you, like, I've been a good guy for a long time. Like, it's hard. Like, when we heard it, we went, oh, good luck with that.
Really? Like, I would have thought, the way I saw the promo, I would have thought you guys were itching to go heel.
So we were, like, I hate being a babyface.
Okay.
I hate being a good guy with a passion.
Yeah.
Although it was just where it went.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been for the past 20 years. you know. But I love being a bad guy, though. It just gives you a little bit more freedom, and plus me and my aura and the way that I am, I'm a really good heel. It's just when I had Brian, you just can't be that.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Not with
Like,
the DX
no matter
and
how
the-
much
yeah.
they hated me, and they, oh, if he wasn't with you, we would hate your guy.
Yeah,
But that's, but I think he has more of heel being a bad guy tendencies than this one. Although now we get to kind of feed off of each other. It was just how do we get to where we need to get to? And I think that's where the sacrificial lamb of Paul White comes into play.
Sorry, buddy.
Because he is I wouldn't say he's a bigger baby face than we are,
Pun
or than I
intended, bigger.
am. You know, just bigger in life.
Yeah.
But it's just how do you get the people to switch over and believe that, and that's the biggest thing is rather than just do something to go, oh, okay, now you're bad guys, we get it. You know, you don't want them to do that. You want to do something that makes a statement that they legitimately go, okay, that's uncalled for, kind of thing. But being a bad guy's awesome.
Oh.
It's so.
And I think
Like,
it's
that's all
ingrained,
me.
like
That's all me.
I think it's somehow also ingrained in the people's heads that they want to hate me in Austin.
Yeah.
Like they just like, oh, they're second generation. They didn't have to work for this, so we hate them.
So that was the
Austin
point.
has a punchable face.
That was the point I was trying to make. Is like, as I'm trying to be a babyface before Colten got in the business, I was behind Dad, and Dad would come out of the tunnel and he'd get a huge pop, right? And I'd be following him, and then it's just like. You can feel the energy from the people, and that they just like they love him, but they don't appreciate that I got the free ticket or whatever they want to say as an excuse. They don't know how hard me and Colten work behind the scenes. They have no idea. But like what they see and what we're giving them is just like, oh, second generation. He probably got a free ticket. I don't want to cheer him, but he's with Billy. All right, I'll give him a couple of these. So like on Twitter, then you started reading over the years of like, oh, you got a free ticket, blah, blah, blah. You don't do, boo Gunn Club, boo Gunn. Like, it's like we are working so hard, whatever. So I was like, when I was so excited for this heel turn because I can finally just be myself. Now I can finally just really just give it to the fans. So when the first heel match we had at Prudential Center, I was coming down and I didn't even care about the entrance. I was just like, who am I gonna fight? Like, who can I fight in the fans? I want one guy to say like, oh, second generation, whatever. I want some person, and some guy did it in the front row, and I literally got out of the ring at the end of the match, and I was like, get over here, come over this ramp. Like, I was like begging him to come over the guardrail because I just wanted that so bad. I was just able to release that energy that I've had for so long. It's just like underappreciated and like. Not respected. So it's like it allows me to be myself. So I can just go out there and be cocky and just do whatever.
and just to touch on like everybody like I don't know where like just because they're second generations, I have that kind of stroke to go to Tony and go, hey, hire my kids because they wrestle. Like that's like if anything, they work twice as hard as anybody. No, I know for a fact that they worked twice as hard as anybody on the roster. And that's not putting anybody on the roster down, but I have high expectations for them. If you want to do this, you jump 110%. You don't get to come in at 50 or 60%, because if you do, I will literally just lace your ass. So they work for it. I mean, they
just
work for
lace it up.
I mean, they work for
Double
everything that they've gotten. I didn't, not one time, and this is the honest God's truth, did I go to anybody and say, hey, they really work hard. Can you hire them? Like, and because then you get the feeling, okay, now we have, a little bit of an obligation to kind of lean forward to do this. And he literally, when he got hired, he literally went to them and say, hey, because he went somewhere else first. He went to ROH first, and it just wasn't working out. Like he was just miserable, and that's okay, because that's like when he came home, I just literally asked. I said, "Can you live with this? I mean, is this something like? Don't do it just because you're miserable. Life is miserable. Like this business is miserable. like you have to be able to wade through it. Like I waded through it for 20-something years.
Yeah.
You just have to be able to be strong enough to know that there's going to be big ups and downs. So when he left ROH and he said he went to AEW, everybody, and asked them hey, do you mind if I get a tryout or whatever? I didn't do it. Yeah. I didn't do a thing. I said, this is all.
I remember.
Well, I
you telling me you went
requested
to Cody,
I requested Dad not to be in the meeting. And I came back. I was super depressed and super down. And Dad gave me the pep talk. And I go, all right, if I plan this correctly and I get an okay. So I called Cody. That's who I called. And I go, hey, Cody, I was like, I don't want Dad to know that I'm calling you right now. I don't want anything. I literally just asked Dad for Cody's number. So I called him and I go, hey, I'm in a rough spot, and I understand you don't give out free tickets, but listen. I was like, if you give me one shot, one opportunity to seize everything I ever wanted.
I heard that in a song one time.
Could you
No,
capture it?
but I was like,
Doesn't spaghetti come
was
into
like-
play too?
so he's like, I'm cooking
Moms.
mom's spaghetti. So I asked Cody, I was like, the January 1st show, I have 30 days to get my ass in shape, to look the best I ever could at that time. And I was like, can I do it? And I was like, if you give me one shot, literally, I don't care if it's a singles or a tag, I will show you that I am serious. I'm capable of taking this all the way. And Cody was like, all right, we will give you one dark match. It's not going to be long, but it's to see how well you work, what you can do, blah, blah, blah. And I go, perfect. Thank you so much. I called Mike O'Hearn, and I called Mike O'Hearn the day after, and I go, I need 30 days to get me just shredded. I need to look the best I could. And I stuck on the 30-day blitz. No, there's
Okay,
free press
let's-
for you. Piece of shit. No, but he helped me get just my body right. Dad helped me get my mind right. And I just trained for 30 days, and I went out there, and
Who was the match against the first one?
it was against Sean Spears and 10 from the Dark Order.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 It was a dark. It didn't even air. It was
Yeah.
literally just to see how well I worked. And I came through the tunnel, and literally it's just been up. It's just been awesome. It's been a journey from there.
And they work twice as hard when they're not at work. Like I literally yelled at them the other day. Like literally
Yeah,
yelled at them
he
because
got pissed. Like
because
for
they're,
real.
they don't know how to manage what they're doing. So they literally are at the school every day. Like
Yeah.
they're there every day. And yes, I do appreciate it, but sometimes your body has to rest because our bodies are not meant to do what they do.
Yeah.
That to understand, yes, I get it. That's cool. I'm into you guys going, but sometimes you just got to sit back. Take a deep breath. Let your body heal a little bit because we travel every
preaching
week.
the choir over here.
I know. I'm just letting him go. I'm just letting him
Dude,
go on
let
this
him
soapbox.
let him go, and then let's just tear this all apart.
But you just have. But once in a while, you have to. They're not like I'm from a different era. Like I'm used to just tearing myself to shreds. Hence why I do what I do these days. Go to the gym and do what I do. But I don't want them to do. I want them to be able to function by the time they're my age. You know, I barely function now. Like so. But it's trying to just get them to manage their time and to manage their bodies and to understand. Hey, you have a couple aches and pains. Go sit home. Just relax. Or go to the school and just watch, because they won't do that. I know they say, well, we'll just go, yes, okay. That's not going to happen. I know how this works, and I know how their minds work. But they literally do. They've earned everything and without my help, like literally without my help. And that's a fact. And people can take that for what it's worth or believe it or not believe it. It doesn't matter. But we all know how hard they work. And people, for some reason, think that second generation people just have an open door. Like, yeah, hell, you suck. We'll hire you. Like, it's like that's just not a thing. It just isn't.
I think that's why it gets under our skin so much, or at least it just comes to our attention a bunch. And just like, dude, we go from our flight. We'll go from our flight here in New York. We'll go and we'll fly home tomorrow, but we get in at, 1:30 or something like that?
Yep.
And we'll be at practice from 5 to 9.
Yeah.
Like
and we'll
when
do
we
it Friday.
when we
and
touch down, we go home, we eat our meal, we try to take a nap if it's even
we have enough time.
available, and then we go straight to training. And then the next morning, guess who wakes us up? Dad, to work out for 3 hours. Then we go home, we eat,
Take
we
another
sleep if we
nap.
can, and then we go straight back to practice. So it's like every time we're not on the road, we're at practice and we're working out. When we're on the road, we work out, but we can't train because in the ring because we don't have the ring available only for the shows. But how can we stay busy? That's how the Instagram thing came along.
Yep.
It's like we were like, how do we stay busy and just
Yep.
get our face
Takeovers,
out there and
right.
just have fun?
Yeah, they
And-
were like, we've been asking people to take this thing over. Like, give it to
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
We will
wh-
do it
like
right
why?
now.
You guys
Why,
were doing it when
why
I
does
was
nobody
there.
want to take that opportunity? 1.4 million people on Instagram. Are you nuts? Are you nuts? I
Give it
went,
to me.
give us this sign in, and that's what we did. It's just me and Colten were like, all right, how do we help the company? It's like instead of just showing our faces, we started interviewing new talent that was coming in there and extras. And I had an extra one time say, nah, come back later. We're a little bit, we're a little busy. I went, are you crazy, dude?
You guys did one with us when we were there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I went, dude, that kid will never come back. Like, are you nuts? Like,
That's insane.
you're an extra trying to get hired, and then you didn't want to be on the Instagram. Like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But we would just go over and just have funny skits for everybody, and then eventually it just became like everybody had their little skit, and then eventually everybody started coming up and like hanging around us and like,
if they saw
hey,
it.
are you doing those Instagram skits? Like, oh, now we see what you're doing. Now you're catching on.
Like people would come up and be like, "Hey, what time you guys want to get that Instagram?"
Yeah. And they start scheduling us like, this isn't our job. Wait a second. And then that's how the crowd thing became too, because me and Dad were in Atlanta, and that's when the pandemic really hit.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh man, well, should we go out and at least cheer for them? And so they have some noise and stuff like that. They're not used to it.
Yeah, but that's the thing about this company. It's like they really appreciate everything you do. Like they don't understand where I came from, so they don't like they appreciate what they do, but they don't understand the other company's way of doing things to the way that this company. That's why, like, they could ask me to sweep the arena. I would literally do it, only because they appreciate it. It's
like the vibe of a startup almost.
Yeah, it's
really
the
great.
vibe of, hey, like Tony will, like, every time you work, like instantly the first one, thank you so much, that was awesome. Whole, so you feel appreciated. You know, and you feel like, you know what, if he appreciates that, he'll appreciate this. And then you do the Instagram, and then you do the audience, and then you just do a bunch of things, and you don't think twice about it. You don't think twice about going, damn, they got me doing a lot of shit.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that Punk and Brian said kind of brought him to AEW.
Yeah.
Like
And
the
that's
stuff about the roster keeping Brody,
but all of
stuff is secret,
us,
and all that.
Punk, Brian, me, that's what we want.
Yeah.
We want that kind of thing. Like, only because they were in that system too, and they understand how not appreciated you are.
Yeah.
You know, no matter how hard you work or how good you are or what you do, you're unappreciated. You know, but here it's a different vibe. So now you're energized again. Only because at 58, while I'm still doing this, is because I love what I do.
Did you say 58?
Yes.
58? Yeah. Holy shit.
Dude, he's a monster, man.
Yeah, he's not human.
But it rejuvenated my career. I love what I do. I honestly do, or else I wouldn't do it this long. And now I get to do it with them, and I get to do it with this company. Like, I can go out there probably, if I wanted to, another 6 months. but that's how you feel, and that's how you want to feel. Like, you don't want to feel like a piece of shit when you're doing something that you love to do.
Yeah.
Like, we get to run around and act like complete idiots and get paid for it. Like,
Backstage, we're just having so much fun. Like, we don't treat it like a job. Me and Colten don't get treated like second generation. We get treated as like individuals, and we get hugs, and now we're making connections. Like, it used to be where like, oh, that's Billy Gunn's kid. Or those are Billy Gunn's kids. Yeah. At this company, it's just like, dude, we're developing like great friendships with like on our own. It's just like a cool like journey for us as well. It's like AEW just brings you in and just treats you like family, and then it doesn't matter that we're second generation. Like, it doesn't matter any of that. It's just like, are you a good person? Do you work hard? And like, it's cool. It's just, it's a great place to work. I love it so much.
Great atmosphere.
Yeah.
That being said, they got to start showing the Gun Club some more respect, guys.
Yes.
It was great having you in here, but a title shot needs to be coming. Hopefully a trios title in the future. That would be the ultimate dream, right?
That would be. That if we were to do that, like, the day after I would retire, and then they can have a tournament. I'll do the win the title and relinquish it all on the same day.
A retirement tour.
We didn't sign off on that.
Wait a second here.
Grand Slam tonight, Rampage on Friday. I can't wait. Check it out. Arthur Ashe in Queens.
Yeah.
Thank you.